Good morning, everybody. Lovely to see everybody. Here we are on Sarah's Saturday sofa session, and I'm really chuffed. I'm very, very pleased to announce that I have a lovely lady joining me today called Sandi Marshall. Sandi talks all about mental health in the workplace. She talks about all the lovely things that we need to be doing, all the proactive stuff. We're going to have a long discussion with her. Sandi, you've been doing workplace well-being, and you started, as you said earlier, at the time of Kiss of Death, which was January 2020.
I did.
So how are you getting on? What is the purpose behind running your small business?
When I left my last job, I had trained to be a mental health first aider. And when I got back after my training, I was like, we can do all these different things, and we can do this, and we can support that. And my boss was like, no, that box is ticked. And so that's it. And I felt like really, really let down. But fast forward, started my own business in January 2020, as you say. And basically I was more HR than mental health awareness. Yeah. But as the months drew on, I realised, because of my own experiences with poor mental health and what the whole world was going through, it was something that I could really make a difference at. And that's what started it. So my purpose, it's funny, I made my mum laugh. I said, I don't want to be rich and famous. I just want to make a little bit of a difference. Yeah. And that's what I want to do. I want to go into businesses and I want to show them that mental health awareness, it doesn't have to be scary. It's not all about long-term sickness and employment tribunals. There is a lot of things that employers can do proactively to support mental health in the workplace. And that's what I'm all about.
Yeah, before it goes wrong. Yeah. And that's the most important thing. That's the lovely thing about having that support and advice, that it's there. And employers just got to go out and grab it, haven't they, before something does tip the balance. So absolutely fantastic concept. You also on social media do Wellbeing Wednesdays, so everyone's got to look out for that.
Yeah.
So you talked to me about something called the Toolbox. Can you explain what the Toolbox is to everybody?
Absolutely. When I was in the transport industry on the engineering side, they would have regular, what they call Toolbox Talks.
Yeah,
and you know about those. So anybody in that kind of industry will know that sort of like once a week or once a fortnight, everybody in the workshop sits down, they review certain elements of health and safety, what the hot topic is, trips, slips, falls, all that kind of thing. So I applied the same logic to mental health and wellbeing. And so now I do like 1 hour sessions. A lot of them obviously recently have been online with businesses, talking about subjects that their employees want to talk about. Ones that have been coming up increasingly: sleep, work-life balance, especially for people working from home.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of giving people literally the tools that they need, the knowledge that they need to deal with these things when they start to become an issue. And it's amazing how much that really we all know, but we forget. And a good example of that is sleep. One of the key things to sleep is a regular bedtime. Now, when I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, and certainly when my kids were little, they always had a routine and they always had a regular bedtime. But as an adult, all that goes out of the window. And then we're sitting there thinking, why don't I sleep very well?
Especially as a small business owner, I don't think we learn to use our brains and get them to switch off. And I think that's really important. And that alone becomes a massive mental health issue with sleep deprivation. I know that you've done a lot on sleep. I've done a podcast on sleep deprivation. And that has such a deteriorating effect on people. And I don't think people really grasp the concept of how important our sleep is.
Absolutely. And also a lot of people don't understand the difference between insomnia and just being unable to sleep.
Yeah.
So, which is something else that we discuss in the Toolbox Talks.
Fabulous. So you've talked to us about the Toolbox Talks. So how do they work for the customer? How do we get involved in doing these with you?
Literally just contact me through my website. I work with companies of all sizes, Larger companies, we can do smaller groups, maybe by department. But one of the huge benefits is that when you talk to people, employees within a company together, it's that peer group support that very often it is lacking. So for example, I did one of them on work-life balance, and we were talking about emails, and there was a young girl, hadn't been with the business long, and she felt that she had to constantly check. She had her emails on her home phone, so she felt that she had to constantly check her work emails. One of the senior guys turned around and said, well, I don't do that. I turn them off. If you want to contact me between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m, you're out of luck. And it was almost like him saying that gave the other people permission not to keep checking their work emails. So it's all about that peer group support and looking out for each other.
And do you know what? That's brilliant, because that leads on to something that I'm going to be talking about on my next sofa session, and that's boundaries. And I think that if those employers had said to their staff, you know, these are the boundaries of what we expect from you, because those staff went off working from home, you know, feeling probably quite anxious and feeling that, oh, I have to check my emails all the time. And I know that we are in a world that we do that. We are never off our phones, and we have to admit to that, unfortunately. But there's a healthy way of doing it, and there's an unhealthy way of doing it, isn't there? Yeah, I do totally agree on that. So let me talk about the value then. I love talking about value. What's the value of your toolboxes? What's your expectation, and what is it everyone kind of asks you what they want to get out of that?
A lot of employers, they have high turnover, high rates of presenteeism, high rates of absenteeism. And if you can nail the whole well-being thing, and I'm not necessarily talking about corporate gym memberships, I'm not talking about yoga classes, but if you can look after your employees, those three things reduce almost immediately. People feel supported, they feel listened to, and I mean, well-being and productivity is one of my little strap lines. Well-being and productivity go hand in hand.
They do. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So to me, it's a no-brainer, an absolute no-brainer. You don't have to. Not everybody likes mental health awareness training. People don't want to sit in a room and listen to me bang on all day about mental health awareness. But the Toolbox Talks, an hour, once a week, once a fortnight, even once a month. Yeah, and people are getting to listen and to talk about the things that they want to talk about, things that are going to support them. It's just awesome. I love it. I love what I do.
Yeah, so it becomes a two-way street, and it gives them a voice, which I think a lot of employees, and I can vouch for myself when I was one, there were times throughout my career, and I think everyone goes through that you don't feel that you do have a voice, and you're not quite sure if you want to say something, because you're not quite sure if you want to rock the boat or not. And I think that having that time and giving that open door to say that it's okay to talk about this is absolutely crucial, because as a trainer myself, I always know that no question is a stupid question. And if you're thinking it in your head, then 3 or 4 people behind you are thinking exactly the same. It's just being able to have that time and the confidence to ask those questions. So
you're right. I mean, it's like, again, some of the Toolbox Talks I've done, somebody will raise a particular point, and then 3 other people are like, well, yeah, I thought that as well. And it's just opening those lines of communication so that people realize that actually 99% of the time we're on the same page. We're human beings. We need the same support. We need the same advice. It's just a no-brainer, as I say.
Yeah, definitely. And I think those Toolbox Talks provide a comfortable setting without judgment, because I think that's where a lot of people, and we're all human beings at the end of the day, feel that they don't feel that they can say what they truly want to say through fear of that judgment.
Yeah.
And when you are employed, you've got the added pressure of, yes, but they pay me. And I think that lays heavily on a lot of people.
No, I think you're right. And in addition, if a business comes to me and they book, for example, six Toolbox Talks, for that period of time. I also offer what I sort of call a listening ear service. So any of the employees involved in the Toolbox Talks, if they want to contact me privately about a specific issue, again, sometimes it's easier just to talk to somebody that isn't in the workplace and say, actually, I've got an issue with this. And as you know, I've got a huge network of people that I can refer them to, counsellors, therapists, because I'm not a trained counsellor, I'm not a therapist, but 35 years has taught me my stuff. So
yeah, I would agree on that side of it. And I think that, like you've just said, you've got an added tool in your toolbox along with your Toolbox Talks. So what other services can you provide small businesses and individuals?
Mental health first aid is something that's really important to me. I'm not qualified yet to be a mental health first aid trainer, but certainly mental health awareness training is something that I do. And again, it's really interesting because it opens like conversations. So everything I do really is around mental health awareness, the Toolbox Talks and well-being, but no yoga classes.
No yoga. So the mental health training that you do, the awareness, is that online, or do you do that face to face, or do you do
both? I was lucky recently. I went to Merley House in Wimborne, beautiful grade 2 listed Georgian building, and I ran a training course there for half a day. But yes, also do it online. And a lot of the time it is aimed at people managers, showing or teaching managers how they can support their employees' mental health without being all woo-woo and fluffy.
I love that, all woo-woo. That's fabulous. So the best way to contact you is via your website, which is sandimarshall.co.uk. Is that correct?
Absolutely, Sandy with an I, or via my LinkedIn page.
Fabulous, which is again just Sandi Marshall. Yeah.
Yes.
Fabulous. That's absolutely lovely. Great to meet you. Great to have you on board on our lovely Saturday sofa session. For everyone out there, please, if you've got any issues when it comes to mental health, don't bottle them up. Speak to Sandi. Sandi can help. She's got a massive network of professional colleagues who can also help going off and diversing in different areas. So thanks, Sandi. It's been great to talk to you. And I'm sure we will catch up with our networking very, very soon.
Definitely. Thank you, Sarah.
No problem at all.